So ecstatic moments. So I'd like you to think about a specific time in your life. It could be recently or it could be, from your childhood or anywhere in between. A time that you felt absolutely ecstatic. It was just such a joyous occasion, and something that if you could have that feeling, all the time, that would just be wonderful. I'd like you to just type an example or two in the box so that we can share a few examples. So, it might be the day you got married, or having a child, or, winning some sporting event or whatever. Okay, and getting offered a job last week. Oh, congratulations. That's fantastic. That's definitely up there in ecstatic moments. Okay, and so when you think about this specific event, or this specific moment, I should say, when you felt in a state of ecstasy, I'd like you to consider the following questions. So, what activity was I doing? Who was I with? What emotions were present? What actions did I take to make it happen? What did I learn? And what did I let go of? And the reason for considering these questions is that ideally we would like our lives to be full of ecstatic moments. So imagine if our lives were really a string of, ecstatic moments together, moving from one ecstatic moment to the next. So, what activity were you doing? Could you do more of that activity in 2013 or similar activities? Who was I with? Was it a specific person that you were with? And if so, could you spend more time with that person or similar people? What emotions were present? Could you, recreate those emotions somehow? What actions did you take to make it happen? Could you take those actions again or similar actions? And, what else could you learn or let go of that could recreate that ecstasy? So we've got a couple more. Feeling full and satisfied after eating a plate of nachos. Absolutely. I think sometimes, it's those little things in life that really, make life, full and wholesome. Our wedding day and having our children. That's beautiful. Absolutely. Fantastic ecstatic moments. Okay, if there's any more that you'd like to share, feel free to do so. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Another fantastic Dr. Seuss quote. Okay, so when considering your best year yet and getting clear on your desired outcome for 2013, there are a number of different areas where it's useful to focus. So I'd like you to, just at the top of your page, write down these points as I go. So it's important to consider your health. Your exercise, your nutrition, your sleeping, your wellness in general, your mental health, all of those factors. Your personal relationship, so how would you like your personal relationship to be? And if you don't yet have a partner, is 2013 the year for that to change, and how would you like it to be? Family, how would you like your family situation to ideally be? Friends, will you be making new friends this year? Will you be building stronger bonds with the friends that you have? How much time are you spending with them? Business, so whether you own your own business, as I know a few of you do, or whether, you're in a job working for other people, perhaps it might be time for a new job. Or a career change, or progressing in the company, or building your business, or maybe, you're ecstatic with where you are and it's just about having more of that. How's your financial situation looking in your ideal 2013? You know, what's the bank balance looking like in your savings account, for example, at the 31st of December? Consider hobbies. You know, what hobbies do you enjoy spending your time on? You know, what toys will you enjoy playing with? Are you perhaps going to get yourself a new computer or car or boat or some power tools so that you can take up woodwork or something along those lines? And travel. So, you know, we had an example of an ecstatic moment or earlier, or a highlight of 2012 as being travel. So, you know, where would you like to travel to in 2013 and who will you be going with? Okay, so I'd like you now to imagine that I have a time machine and I have transported us to the 31st of December 2013. So we are there right now. And you have had the best year of your life. And so you're going to tell me, here's what happened. So at the top of your page, or at the top of a new page, either way, I'd like you to write what is on my screen. So it is the 31st of December 2013 and I have had the best year of my life. And then what you will do is that you would consider, longer term, you would consider each of those 9 areas and you would explain, you know, what happened in the area of health that made the year so fantastic. For today, I'd like you to pick one of those 9 areas and just type in the question box for me, what has happened in that particular area that has made 2013 the best year of your life, your best year yet? So it might be a particular activity. Maybe you travelled somewhere. Maybe you know, you've got a happy, healthy relationship. Maybe you have your own business and it's, you know, gone in a whole new exciting direction. I'll just give you a moment to think about that and to type something in the question pane, an example of something that's happened. So it's now the end of 2013. What has happened that's been so fantastic? And remember that if you can't see the question panel, there should be a little red arrow, and if you click that, it will appear. Okay, business is up and running and making $200,000 per annum. Fantastic. No wonder it's been your best year yet. Okay, it is the 31st of December 2013 and I have had the best year of my life. I got a new job that was challenging and exciting. I met a lot of new people and learnt a lot of new things. Fantastic. Love to know what those new things were that you learnt. All right. Okay. All right, lost 5 kilos and completed a reno project. Fantastic. Moved out of home with some close friends. Love it. Wow. You guys have had a fantastic year this year in 2013. That's great. Okay. Great job, everybody. All right. So obviously, as I'm sure you can imagine, getting clear on what you really want is something that is worthwhile taking a bit of time to think through and put pen to paper, making sure that you are writing your goals, you know, in terms of what you want to have rather than what you don't want to have. So I would suggest that sometime, you know, perhaps later today or in the next few days, perhaps set yourself aside some time to go through that in a bit more detail. So once you have figured out what you do want in the entirety of the year, it's also worth considering a 90-day focus. So, okay. So the year, in a sense, can be broken down into 4 quarters. And metaphorically, we can think of these as being quarter 1, so that being January to March, as being the metaphorical spring of the year. And I realise that's not actually matching the seasons, but stick with the metaphor. So in terms of a successful year, the first 3 months are our spring. The second quarter is our autumn. Not our autumn, our summer. I'm losing track of my months. So the second quarter is our summer, so April to June. Then quarter 3 is our autumn. So in spring and summer, there's a lot of emphasis on getting things started, planting the seeds, so to speak. By the time we're getting to quarters 2 and 3, we're starting to see the fruit based on the seeds that we've planted. And then by the time we reach quarter 4, the metaphorical winter, so the October to December, which is where we're at now for 2012, there's a lot of completion going on at this time. And so it's important in each quarter to consider all 9 of those factors, the areas that we considered previously, and they can be broken down into health, relationships, so personal relationship, friends and family, business, and then reward, so whether that's, hobbies, toys, travel, money, whatever. And so it's important that you focus on each of these things, improving each of these factors every quarter. So having 90-day goals is a great way of breaking down your yearly goals. And having a reward at the end of each quarter, so something that you can look forward to and say, wow, I did a really great job this quarter. So it might be travel, it might be doing a particular activity that you love, or it might be a massage or something along those lines. So I hope that makes sense. Please let me know if that's clear, and I will go on to the next slide.